the drama starts. Lap 30, 8 laps to go. Sandobi hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Pilecki goes, dives onto the right side. Very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys. Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Pilecki. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. Well, now it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the left car and around those at the same time. At the same time, he's got the inside corner. Will he ride the curb? Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Nuna Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. Look at the beauty as his right side will cook the grass a little. A 180, no, a 360. Oh. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernot. Gernot will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
Should a new season mean a brand new coat of paint? For iRacing it does. Some beautiful new options mean some shiny looking cars will take to the track. But will they still look that pretty when they reach the checkered flag? Road Atlanta is typically an unforgiving circuit and could ruin those fresh new liveries. We'll see who looks like $1 million in the winner's circle as we get ready to watch round 1 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Mick Claridge. Behind the scenes is our director, the Dr. Amjad Yaman, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Mick, Road Atlanta is one of those tracks that seems to show up season after season in a lot of series schedules. What is it about this place that makes it so popular?
Hi Joe, yeah, Road Atlanta is such a brilliant track. This track's just pure old school, you know, and it's got everything you want out of a whole, you know, it's just got every type of corner. It's got undulation, it's got blind corners, it's got fast, it's got slow hairpins, it's got chicanes in it, it's just got no runoff as well in certain places, you know. Just 2.54 miles now. It's just a whisker over 4 kilometers, 12 turns here, and 36 laps here. There's a good amount of laps in this series. But yeah, this is going to be a really great race. I watched the race earlier, and that one was good. I can't wait to watch this one, mate.
And to see what it's like from on board on the driver's perspective, let's take a ride on our lap guide.
All right, we've got Juhan Norlampi in the GSRC Lotus 79, so let's do a lap around Road Atlanta. Coming down to turn 1, passes into here will take some bravery. There's no braking, just a big lift and letting the ground effects and compression carry you through this scary sweeper. Bring it over to the middle of the track to give yourself a good line into the braking for 3. Expect to see lots of mistakes here with the high speeds and blind apex. From there, you'll be feeling out the gas through 4 until you reach the S's, and then finally you can get your foot down. Try to get the car off the right for 5, where once again, the compression helps the car turn in. But it gets light at the top when you try to get to the power, and many drivers have ended their races there over the years. Finally, it's a short breather to 6, where sometimes you can sneak a pass in. The banking carries a lot of speed though, and before you know it, you're into 7. This is easily the most important corner of the track. The launch you get off of here plays a big part in your lap time because you're now onto the long backstretch. Expect some drafting games to happen if 2 drivers are very close on pace. But in the end, you've also got a great passing opportunity into the final chicane. The tricky thing is you can defend from either side, so drivers might try to hang on to the position instead of just rolling over. Out of there, ease onto the power because wheel spin will most certainly be an issue. Watch the bumps under the bridge and then be brave through the final turn. And with that, we've now finished a lap around Road Atlanta.
Laps around here go by pretty quick. It's not that long of a circuit, to be honest, but it was a long season last season. Another 12 weeks are done. Let's go over how the results were at the end of things as we pull up the points. Alexei Aloma did take the championship, and Gernot Frisha wound up finishing second. Matt Wood, who was challenging Aloma all the way till the end, actually slipped to third after all was said and done. Bit surprising, and I'm sure somewhat disappointing for Matt, but he still ran a great season in the end. Steve Bycroft was in it until about a round or 2 to go himself. And how about Nuno Moreira climbing up to 5th in the points despite not showing up for very many races? That's how dominant he was in the remaining rounds. Of course, they have a Teams Championship, the Classic Teams Championship, as they call it here. And that wound up in the hands of the Parmalat Racing team. Renault wound up just about 34 points behind, so it was relatively close between them. And then the Equipe Talbot Gitan team was in a very tight fight for 4th, only 4 points between themselves and Williams to settle out the final podium spot in the teams. Ferrari, unfortunately, all the way down in 5th, but still not too far behind them, and Williams in that 4th place. Let's go over the race details as well. Mick, we've got a fun one here in store for the start.
Yeah, brand new season, Joe. Everyone's running a brand new season now. It's week 1. iRacing restarts their seasons. It's round 1 of 12. 36 laps. Like I said before, really good distance there for this race. Open setup. This car setup is tough beyond belief for me. And the incidents, just take note there as 17 incidents. You get a stop and go penalty, I think, for the 17 penalties now. And 25 penalties means a disqualification.
Does indeed. It's a new feature here in iRacing in this build. I'm eager to see how it works in this series, because this is the first one I'm going to be calling with that involved. But before we get down to the qualifying, which is taking place, just a reminder to subscribe to our channel, because if you do so, well, we're doing a giveaway for these holidays. Of course, if you are already subscribed, you're automatically entered into that giveaway, but we will pick 2 people, one who has already been subscribed before December and one who subscribes during December, to get their free choice of item from our merch store. You can find that merchandise store in the link below in the YouTube description. Right now, the provisional pole sitter is Steve Bycroft, actually, I'm seeing after the first few laps. And he's joined by Marco Sanfilippi just now on the front row, who set his first lap time. We're watching Kendrick Taylor, who sits in 4th, and see how he can improve.
Yeah, I was just watching Steve in the earlier race, Joe, and he was up there at the front with Journo, and he kept Journo honest through the whole race pretty much. There was only a second difference, so I'm expecting a good battle with those guys. Just waiting for Journo to finish a lap now. He's on the back straight coming down, but I think he must have got 1x on his first lap. Do you think?
No, I'm seeing that he hasn't set a lap time yet, so he's just come out. I did say that they are short laps, so I guess he was waiting a little bit, maybe tweaking his setup to his liking, since he did get a little bit of chance to warm up. Or
seriously, letting the temperature drop a bit. I've done that before. It's a bit naughty, but it's done. I've seen it happen.
It's 84 degrees Fahrenheit on the track. It's a 1:10.9. That's not quite good enough for pole, but he's within 1/10 of Steve Bycroft, and Bycroft is done. He set both of his times. So now it's up to Journo to try and see if he can get quicker than that. Sanfilippo, improves and jumps up to 3rd with his second lap.
I'm just going to say, Journo really stuffed up the turn 3 entry there. Really ran wide, just took too much curb, and it bumped the car right on the outside there. And he gave up, so that's it. He's on the front row, but Steve's going to have the advantage here in the turn 1.
Got a couple drivers that are still yet to set a time. Schlocker is waiting to get his first one in. So is Pablo Suarez. Looking to see who else is completing theirs. I see Barry West is just getting ready to finish his second lap. He's coming onto the back stretch, and he's currently sitting in 15th. We are on a split race today, which, if you're not familiar with iRacing, they have a maximum amount of cars that can race in a race, and from there, they separate them into 2 separate races that happen at the same time. These are the drivers that have the highest I rating of those 2 splits that we have today. So this is the cream of the crop that we're watching. Suarez coming across the line to set a time. A 1:12.0, only good enough for 11th for him. Whereas Barry West's second lap seems to have not counted. He had an off somewhere around there.
Yeah, pretty close up top there, isn't it, Joe? 10.8, a 10.9, 11 flat, 11.1, 11.2, and 11.3. Down to Peter Canetti. Really close lap times.
Yeah, not surprised that it's so tight around here with the drivers as we continue to watch Stefan finish his first flying lap. Just about a minute and a half left to go, so I think he'll have enough time to try and complete both of them. Up and over the hill. You were talking about that hill being extremely tricky, too, with the drivers trying to get the throttle down. I have to imagine it's even tougher with light fuel here in qualifying.
Yeah, I don't know if it's tougher or not in light qualifying, to be honest with you, Joe. But when the pressure's on and you're chasing someone down, like I said, I watched the race just gone at 2:30, and a few guys were really messing up over that crest now there, and really losing the back end. Just one guy to note, Nicola Cocci. That's a bad qualifying for him. I'd expect him to be right up there, really.
Yeah, he was at the top of the timing sheets when we were watching the practice before this session opened. Yeah. So he looked quick. Sam Doby, I don't know if he'll have time to complete a lap. He's awful close to the finish here, so he might just squeak through. It's the last driver we're waiting to set a single time. Everybody else has got at least one down. Steph is also getting ready to finish his. He might just barely get across. Sam across the line, a 1:12.1. That's going to bump him up to 14th. That moves Ben Lafter down to last place. Stefan Schlacker with just about 10 seconds left down and across the finish line for a second and final qualifying lap goes to a 1:11.8. 12th place for him, solidly in the mid-pack. That's going to set our order, so let's go through our starting grid here for the first round of the season. Steve Bycroft starting P1 with Jerno Friscia in second place. Row 2 has Marco Sanfilippo in third position. Then Chris Bauman in fourth, and Kendrick Taylor starting fifth. Outside of row 3, it's Peter Konieczki. John Stevens starts seventh today. Nicola Cocci, as you mentioned, all the way down in eighth for his qualifying. Peter Mikus is ninth, and Pablo Suarez rounds out your top 10.
Uwe Trangerade in 11th spot there. Just behind him is Stefan Schlascher. Keith Herner in 13th. Dustin Herrera. I'd watch out for Dustin today there in 14th. Sam Doby in 15th. Timo Vascilampi in 16th. Melina Mann in 17th. Barry West, a UK driver. Notice him. 18th. Fabrizio Missani 19th. Ben Lafter. Round up with 20 cars.
So as we wait for them to grid up, just a few cars that we're waiting on for this standing start. We were talking about the paints. If you keep an eye out, you might see a little bit of flashy chrome on a few of these cars, as they've recently added that feature here to iRacing. And the Lotus 79 community was quick to pick up on it with these classic liveries, trying to emulate the old ones as well as they can. Now at this point, Mikus is the last driver to find his way out there with just a few seconds left. You see Uwe Trangerade not quite following the old schemes as well, as he's got that Honda on there, but the lights are now up as the engines start to rev for round one. Green flag is out. Steve Bycroft off the line, not very well, because already Friscia to his outside, pulling up as they come up to the quick first corner. Are they going to go through side by side? Looks like Friscia's going to try it, but he starts to run out of road. So does those behind him as they have a big wreck in the mid-pack.
Oh, no. Terrible. Looks like, they're still side by side going into the S's now, and it looks like Gurno's got it. Yeah, Gurno's in front now. The coals must have been horrible on cold tyres there, trying to get away. And what a nightmare for the guys behind.
That was Peter Mikus who came out the worst of it. Kendrick Taylor also had to take a tow and is in the pits trying to get repairs already. Still, a lot of drivers managed to sneak through the mess. We still got a battle you can see on screen for fourth place. John Stevens getting ahead of Peter Konieczki, at least for the moment. But now they hit the back stretch, and the engines start to open up as they fly down towards the chicane.
Yeah, now we see who's set up for high downforce and who's set up for low, because you'll see the difference in the top ends. Might just be a little bit, but it does count when you've got cars trying to catch each other in the draft. Look like they're 2x2 there going into the chicane behind the leaders there.
Yeah, a little bit of fighting still in the area that we were talking about. Nicola Cocci getting up to fourth past Konieczki, and Schlacker up to sixth place. How about that? He's all the way into the top 10, having started this thing in 12th. Granted, he could have gained a few from avoiding the wreck there at the start. We'll get back to that replay in a little bit here. It looks like it is settling down somewhat now that we've come into lap 2.
Yeah, just watching John Stevens now. He's got massive front wing damage on the car. he's going to be a bit of a roadblock now coming through the S's down there now into the right-hander. Yeah, the cars are just lining up behind him now. That's going to be horrible for him on the lap one. It's such a horrible feeling to have a damaged car like that right at the start of the race.
Watching the battle for fifth here between Konecki and Schlacher as he gets set up on the exit of turn 7 down the back stretch. He's going to be within the slipstream. You talked about who's got their car set up for top end and with downforce. Do you think that's the wiser move to trim it out, since this is really the only good passing spot on this track?
Yeah, it's a tough one, Joe, because obviously you're going to be finding it hard through the twisties if you take the wings off, you know. And but there was a difference. Like I say, I watched the earlier race. There was a slight difference in top guys. You know, whether they ran a low wing or a high wing. You know, just maybe a couple of miles an hour. But that's all it will take, especially if you're in that tow. You know.
All right, looks like we've got that replay spooled up at the start. Let's see if we can figure out what happened here. This is down into turn 1. The car that started it, I believe, was that Chris Baumann? Yeah, it was Chris Baumann who just got a little loose to the outside. He slid to the inside, and I think it was Sanfilippo that he got into. And then poor Peter Mikus basically had no place to go. We're going to watch from on board. The number 4 just sees a whole bunch of gearboxes in front of them and then suddenly smoke.
Yeah, it's tough for Chris. I think that's the age-old problem with this car. Well, most cars now, you know, now iRacing are getting these tyres sorted. Cold tyres at the start of the race, you know, you don't get many chances to start off the line in these cars. You know, you do your practice runs and all the tyres are warmed up because you've done your first lap. But then when you're on the grid and you get down to that turn 1, the back end goes and that's it. And it's really hard to judge, you know.
Watching from onboard, Freesia back at Steve Bycroft. These two only separated by 3 or 4 tenths of a second, certainly keeping him honest. Sanfilippo was not the one that was involved in it, by the way. He is in 3rd place behind them, but is dropping back relatively quickly. Already about 2.5 seconds between himself and the top 2.
Yeah, Nicola Coach is just behind him, and he's right on him as well. Now, they go down, just up down this little cresty bit down to the 2 right-handers down onto the back straight. Just watching how they enter this. Nice entry there for Nicola Cocci there. Just trying to hold it tight. Oh, he's a little bit square on the power as well. Now, let's just look at this difference in the top speed of these 2 cars. At the moment, they're looking really close, to be honest with you.
It's about 160 miles an hour now. 165. Can he get to 170 before he reaches the end? Just about reaches it by the time they hit the brakes, but does look like they're evenly matched, like you were saying. Sanfilippo going to be safe for the moment. But this is going to be an interesting fight. It's Italian versus Italian. And this is a great run off of the chicane for Nicola Cocci. No defense from Sanfilippo down to the inside of turn 1. In fact, that looked like a lift, and he lets his fellow countryman through.
Yeah, definite lift there. I was just going to say, Sanfilippo had a good top end there down the back straight, so maybe he's a little bit less wing than Nicola. It's going to be interesting to see now if he can keep on Nicola's gearbox.
Yeah, if he can, and if he does have that pace advantage in a straight line, we could see Marco pass him right back. He's fallen back a little bit here, but they come down through 6 and over 7 as we now switch over to we've switched to, this looks like back in around 7th place. This is Suarez, and then Vascalampi behind them in 9th. Dustin Hiroder trying to chase him down the backstretch. He's got a good slipstream. This is going to be a good chance for the number 7 to maybe have a go. Vascalampi's going to cover off the inside. The Finn's going to try and make it hard as they get to the braking zone into the chicane, downhill into here, but very brave for Dustin Hiroder on the racing line. He's going to do it the hard way around.
Yeah, all on the brakes, wasn't that, Joe? That was great drive. Oh, and look what Timo nearly lost it just over the crest there. And look at the gap that's opened up now just because that happened. But yeah, fair play to Dustin there. Super strong on the brakes there.
Barry West is trying to take advantage of that. He's gaining on Vascalampi from that mistake. West up to 11th, having qualified in the 18th position. So he's gained a lot of spots since the start. as they weave through the S's and up over the tricky turn 5.
Yeah, try not to take too much curb there. It makes the car bounce around there. Barry West did that. It was a bit too much curb there. He took on the exit there. Both into the right-handers now. Barry West a little bit wide off the apex there, but let's see how they get down. Oh, nicely into that apex there onto the back straight now, though. Trying hard to get the power down was Barry. Really squirrely there, wasn't he, Joe?
Yeah, I could see that rear end switching around as he got on the throttle, and I think that denied him a chance because Vascalampi's close, but not quite close enough. They're going to come down into the braking zone, but it won't be a position loss this time for the Finn, who holds on to 10th place. Up at the front, we're not missing anything. It's about half a second between Freesia and Bycroft, but Bycroft's been holding him honest. He's staying with him if there's any sort of mistake from the Vienna driver. We're still very early on, so we could yet see Steve get an opportunity. There you see the difference in laps between the two. Bycroft actually faster in 3 out of the 5 last laps. It's very marginal gains in most of them. You can see less than a tenth in the most recent 2. Still, fair play to the number 2 car. And in fact, interestingly, our first 3 are in order of their I rating. Freesia, Bycroft, Kochi, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I just noticed that myself. Yeah, just watching Steve Bycroft there down into the braking zone and the chicane there. It was really strong down into the chicane. It always takes a tighter line here into the last corner. Not sure if that... I don't know why they... see a few guys do that. Nicola Kochi's been doing that as well. Getting a nice toe down the front straight now to Jono and up into this horrible blind left-hander. Over the curves. Well, yeah, both a little bit wide off the curbs there, but nicely round. Nothing in it between these two guys, is there?
They certainly have been making sure that each other has to push hard to try and take the victory today. Both of them up and over turn 5. We are seeing just a little bit of damage on Freesia's car. Let's see if we can spot it here on the left side. Yeah, there it is. Whoa, maybe a little bit more than a little damage. Not sure how he got that.
No. I was just going to say as well, Joe, one thing we haven't mentioned yet, and it will be a massive factor in this race, is traffic. It seems a lot of guys are catching guys in the wrong places. You know, they come out of turn 1, go up that hill, and then there's a car in front of you all the way through the S's down onto the semi-back straight, if you will. You know, and then the guys are not even be able to get past until the back straight. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Steve Bycroft now, a really good run. He's looking down the inside into turn 1 here with Gurno. It's not going to happen. Gurno's not going to fall for that. And off they go back as they were.
Yeah, I think it was just trying to get into his head a little bit. I wonder if maybe it was some curb that Gurno had caught a little bit wrong, and that's why he got some damage there. A little bit farther down in 8th position, Heroder and Doby seem to have traded positions, so the number 7 finds himself in 8th, but it's not over yet. Look at how close Sam is behind him.
Nicely through the S's again. Just got to watch the curb on the exit. Oh, Sam sliding round there on the apex there. Off they go down. I can see 2 cars ahead that are really close to them. Just jump up and see who they are.
Yeah, that's for 5th place. Peter Koneski and Stefan Schlacker. And Stefan's got a fantastic run here. He's going to get the slipstream, but are we going to see a defense from Peter? He's already holding the left side. He's leaving a little bit of an opening down to the inside, but it looks like Steph... Oh, but he jukes him. He comes back to the inside as the door is now open. He's got a wheel in. He brakes later. Can he get the car woed up in time? He's a little shallow on the second apex. A little bit of a challenge back through from Peter Koneski, but the door shuts.
Yeah, Peter really had to get out the power then when the door was slammed in his face there. That was a bit rude, wasn't it?
Let's take a look at a replay on that one. Brave on the brakes from Steph. He
really
had the
good on the brakes. Yeah, really good on the brakes, wasn't he?
I'm surprised that Peter opened the door there, and he kind of realized he started to come back across, and then suddenly saw that the car was already there. There's the chop. Man, there was inches between them.
And it sort of looked like, you know, Stefan was saying to himself, right, I'm ahead into the chicane, so I don't care what line I'll take, I'm ahead, you know. I got the advantage. So and it played out nicely. But yeah, what a shot, what a slam in the face.
The battle for first is not over, and actually this is the best run we've seen from Steve Bycroft as he gets up the outside of Jarno Friscia. He manages to get side by side, but can't seal the deal down through the chicane. Now as they come to complete another lap, we saw a little bit of a look a few laps ago from Steve down into turn one. Could he try another one down here?
I was just watching Steve, just went over the crest there. He did lose the rear end just going over the crest where the car gets light. Would have been a lot closer down into turn one if he would have been able to grip it up there. But it's really tough. It's really tough, especially when you're chasing someone down. You just want to get your foot down and get after him, you know?
You know, despite the talk of the short lap and the traffic, because it's a split today and we've already lost 2 cars, only 18 out there, they're a long ways away from getting up to John Stevens, who's currently the last car on the lead lap. So they've at least got a bit to wait before that becomes a headache for them. And they can fight it out now. But if you're Steve Bycroft, do you think it'd be better to wait for the traffic or try and attack now?
I always look at these races, and I mean, I'm talking iRacing in general. I just look at them, they're not long enough. You know, if it was a full GP length, then yeah. But I mean, although I've said this was a nice, you know, race length for this series, 36 laps, it's not long enough to wait around and see what you can do. You just got to get on it, you know, and these guys are just racing for fun, you know. I don't think anyone out there would do that, you know, just sit and wait for a nice chance later on, you know. I don't know. That's just me anyway.
Yeah, I guess everybody's got a little bit of a different approach. But meanwhile, as we're watching the battle between West and Bauman, this is for 11th. Bauman's able to get by, and that was into the chicane. Just straight out braked West down into that heavy downhill braking zone. So West falling to 12th. He got a lot of spots getting through the wreck at the start, but starting to fall a little bit backwards here.
Whoa! Chris Bauman really out of shape there. Hit the curb on the left-hand side and really bounced over it.
And I think we had a mistake from Molina Mann as well. Yeah, that was down into turn 3. That is one of the toughest corners on iRacing, if you ask me, Mick. You can see just a single car mistake and he gets it woed up in time.
Yeah, I mean, if we ever get any onboards going through there, we've got one now being shown. Just look at that little tree up in the middle. That's what I always aim at. That tree is what you aim at. It's so hard to just get it right, though, every lap. And in this car, it's even harder because I feel, because you're sitting quite low in the car, obviously, it's a low car. It's even harder to see the curb where to turn in. So, yeah, it really is a tough corner. And, yeah, I agree. It's probably one of the toughest on the service.
Back up to the front. Still about 0.6 of a second between Friscia and Bycroft. Steve's backed off now, giving some space to Jarno. You can see there the gap on screen, the last lap between them. I mean, barely anything between them in terms of lap time. They're so evenly matched around here. They've continued to drop Kochi. It's about 7 seconds down to the third place driver. So really the Italian has got to hope for them to tangle if he wants to get involved in this.
Just one guy to watch out for is Dustin Hurado. I'm just watching him, just watching his lap times. Last lap by, he did a 12.3. There's 3 guys in front of him, and they're all in the high 12s. I think this is a battle brewing, you know, Joe. This is going to be quite tasty, I think, in a couple of laps' time.
Dustin himself is showing a little bit of damage on the front wing of his machine. As we come down into that chicane, and Jarno Friscia sets the fastest lap of the race. That is important to the championship because they get 2 bonus points for that fastest lap. However, he won't get a perfect score for today because Steve Bycroft claims the 2 bonus points for the pole position.
Yeah, nicely done for Gurno or Jarno or Jarnu or however you say his name. We're going to find out later, everyone. Everyone who doesn't know how to say his name, we're going to find out. Trust me. Yeah, great stuff getting the fastest lap. I mean, it's not like he's got a nice easy drive there. He's got Steve just chasing him down and hunting him down, you know. He's under pressure today.
The way these cars get faster towards the end, though, I wouldn't be surprised if we see that trade around, depending on who's pushing come the end of this thing. Just about at the halfway point as well. So the laps are ticking off. Looking to see who are some of our big climbers, because most drivers have started to settle in here. And we should have some big ones considering the amount of attrition we had on lap 1. You can see 7 positions up for Stefan Schlacker. Looks like he does have the most positions gained of anybody, closely followed by Vascalampi in 10th.
Yeah, when I saw Stefan up there, I was going to ask you, Joe, I couldn't remember which place he started in, but I knew it was a big gain. So really, really well done to him. You know, I mean, it's luck. Really, you know, he managed to get through that wreck. But yeah, really great stuff from Stefan there.
Yeah, started in
sorry, Joe, I was going to say, I was still keeping an eye on Dustin there. He's still running a little bit quicker than the guys in front there.
There's Dustin on screen now. We watch Suarez go by, giving chase to Peter Konecki. Those two are in a relatively close battle, about half a second between them. I'm sure Dustin will appreciate if they start racing side by side, because that'll certainly increase the rate at which he closes down on them as they come on to the backstretch. Stefan Schlacker's the one ahead of them. Remember, he recently passed Peter and has continued to gap him bit by bit, not by huge margins, but it's about 1.4 seconds rather, that is between them.
Yeah, and Stefan's no slouch today. You know, he's up there on merit. Really, he's holding that place nicely. You know, he's in the high 12s or 12.7. He's just done, and Dustin, 2 cars behind, has done the same lap time as him. So yeah, fair play to Stefan. He's really holding it there.
Even more impressive since he made the comments after qualifying that was his personal best around here. So he is on a tear today as we got a battle down in 15th. Melina Mann and Keith Herner side by side into the chicane, but Herner is going to come out the worst of it as the number 17 now moves into 15th spot.
Yeah, Herner's got a nice bendy back wing there, so I'm not sure if that'll give him a better top speed. I don't know. We'll find out.
It certainly shouldn't be helping him all that much through the corners. They work their way up the hill through to turns 2 and 3. Just behind them, don't forget Fabrizio Massani. We haven't been talking about him a whole lot. He could yet try and gain a position if Keith Herner takes it right back to Melina Mann.
Yeah, it looks like Herner's on it there. He's still keeping up with him in there, isn't he?
Got a good run off at turn 5 down into 6. He took a little bit of a peek into that corner. A lot of banking, though, through there. Hard to try and make a dive into it, but it is possible. Onto the backstretch, though, Keith, a horrible exit off the corner. Melina Mann stretches away to feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, I think Keith's got I was going to say, I think Keith's got a pretty quick car down this back straight now. I think he's on for the chicane here. Nicely in the toe there. Looks to the inside. Just a little look to see what's going on. No! Tight. Whoa.
Doesn't make the pass, but I was not expecting him to get his nose in there.
I wasn't expecting him to go down there. No, that was well scary. That was.
Massani, in the meantime, is certainly appreciating it as he's gained a lot from that move. He's up to 3/10. It is now a 3-car fight to try and settle 15th position. Up and over the crest into turn 3. Nobody trying to make a move through there this time. But we could see something on the backstretch as long as they stay this close. Speaking of close, Bycroft gained a lot of time down the backstretch yet again. Oh, he's got a good run down to turn 1. A defensive move this time from Frisha into the corner. He covers him off. Oh, great run around the outside. He's going to be brave here, but this is not the place that you want to be into turn 3. Bycroft knows it. He backs off just as he gets a little bit of connection problem.
Yeah, that was super tight, wasn't it? As I went down there nicely into turn 1 from Steve Bycroft now, just watching them go both over. Really nice over that. Sorry, Joe. Really nice over that exit curve. Yeah, go ahead, mate.
I was going to say, I was trying to think if I've ever seen a pass around the outside of turn 1 work at Road Atlanta, because that is a scary corner, even single file. And in these cars,
I've done it.
Teach me how. Oh my goodness, I don't think I'm that brave.
Not in the 79, no.
Exactly. So coming down the backstretch once again, Bycroft gaining. Oh, he's really trying to do some stuff here in the mind of Jerno Frisha, because he poked his nose out again, even though he was well far back down into that braking zone. I think that Bycroft, especially from what we saw last season, Steve just wasn't quite on it. He never got that win that he wanted. It looks like he's a lot more eager this season to get aggressive.
He definitely looks like the quicker car of the two at the moment, doesn't he? You know, didn't look like that about 5 or 6 laps ago, but yeah, now he's really on it. Down through the S's now. I'm just watching these guys. I've been watching nothing to take away nothing from the other guys, but I'm just watching the lines these two are taking through the S's there and out on that exit curb as they come out and down now. Just watch the guys break into this corner. It's so tough to get these cars stopped and like nicely over the apex curb here now onto the back straight. Just see how Steve does now on the back straight. I don't think he's close enough, is he, Joe?
Yeah, it looks a little bit far away this time. The slipstream's been helping him, and he has looked quick in a straight line. You can see he is starting to gain. He might actually have something here. Defensive move to the inside from the Austrian. Covers him off into the corner, and nothing from Bycroft into the chicane, but we've seen time and time again, he manages, oh no, he makes a mistake, he tries to lock it up, he gets the car wound up in time and turned around, but I think he might lose out to Kochi, who's starting to gain quickly. We're going to watch the replay before we, if we stay on this, Kochi is going to get by.
Yeah, he got him.
Wheel spin shot him onto the grass, and then from there, yeah.
All that was, Joe, was he was right on the inside of that crest there. You could see him taking a different line over that. And I'm not too sure how the car handles over that crest when you take it tight like that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it would have been. I don't think it would have been him too aggressive on the power. I think it would have been that different line he took, just a little bit less grip there.
Yeah, I've found over the years, it seems like there's something of a bump to that inside, too. It can be difficult depending on the car that you're in. And Kochi, who got by Bycroft, has about a second gap over him because he simply had more pace down the front stretch as Steve tried to get the car up to speed. Let's see if Steve can maybe retake that second place back. But there is another opportunity to win, slipping through the fingers of the Hoosier.
Yeah, it was really tough there. And Journo breathed a sigh of relief, didn't he, when he saw that happen in the mirror, I think.
And behind them, with that taking the battle away for the lead, really the closest one we've got is for 6th place. In fact, a train is starting to form here. Pablo Suarez is looking in the mirror and seeing Konecki, Hiroda, and Doby all close behind.
Yeah, when I called this battle earlier, I didn't mention Sam Doby, but I was watching him as well, and I was thinking, yeah, if Dustin can catch these guys, I think Sam will as well, because he's been quick as well. So this battle's on. Oh, very wide there through that corner there of Konecki and down through the S's. Let's just watch their lines. Someone's gone off into the old circuit there.
We'll have to go back to that later because there's an attempt down into 6 from Doby, but he gets back into the racing line as Hiroda holds him off while also trying to make the attack on Peter Konecki. Could we see 3 wide? Oh, a horrible exit from Hiroda. This is going to put him at a severe disadvantage to Sam Doby as they come down the backstretch.
Yeah, just a quick one on Suarez there. Yeah, he lost it on the downshift. I think the rear's locked up on him there, and it just sent the car to the right. But yeah, just down into the chicane now. Who's going to be late on the brakes? Oh, wow, look at that. Dustin really late on the brakes there.
I think that's what kept him safe because Doby was thinking about it. This battle
this could be on for turn 1, couldn't it?
Hiroda, great off the chicane. Konecki knows it. He makes sure to put it right in the middle of the track. He's going to try that outside move you were talking about, but they come together. Here comes Doby, but he's blocked. He can't go anywhere, and they stay in the same position despite the dramas on circuit.
Joe, I've got a question for you. How did those 3 cars end up on this part of the track now, still going the same way?
Oh, no. I thought for sure we were going to see Doby get 2 for 1 in that situation.
I mean, he was well out of shape on the brakes there just to try and miss it. Has he got a slow down there?
He does. Oh. So Sam Doby eyeing the opportunity of getting 2 spots in 1, instead loses 2. That's Bauman and Vascalampi who go by. And
just watching, sorry, Joe, just watching Dustin again, chasing down Peter into the chicane now. He's got a good run on him now. Pete's going to have to go defensive here to stop this happening. Yeah, he's gone defensive. Dustin on the around the outside. He's going to get a nice run now through the chicane. Really nice exit now. Just don't put your foot all the way down in and you won't lose it. Nicely done. Round turn 1. Different line for Dustin. Tighter line. It's not going to happen into turn 1, is it?
Yeah, that's a little
Pete was too good there, yeah.
I thought for sure that we'd saw Dustin send it up the outside into the chicane with the way he can brake so late compared to everybody. But it's not going to happen this time through. Let's stay on this because it's a little closer, but I've been keeping half an eye on the battle for second as Bycroft is caught up to Kochi. You can see we got a bunch of pairs of cars and extremely close over turn 5. Let's see if they can get anything down into 6. A little bit of a look, but Konecki's going to hold him off. Oh, he's going to try around the outside at turn 7. There's no grip there over the crest, and that actually hurts Hiroter, but he'll get a second bite at the apple as he goes back into the slipstream as Vascalampi gains hand over fist on both of them with this fighting. Down all the way to the left side of the track, Peter Konecki is going to make it hard, but Dustin Hiroter has been mighty on the brakes, almost Ricciardo-esque, as they're just about even into the chicane, but the inside of the second apex goes to Hiroter, finally gets 6th place away.
Yeah, and that's how you do that, ain't it, Joe? Textbook, perfect textbook manoeuvre there. Just watching Vascalampi there, he lost the rear coming over the crest there, so he lost a bit of gain on it. Oh, it looks like Suarez is going for it again. He don't want to give that spot up, does he? Sorry, Konecki.
Yeah, Peter has been trying to get back up to the back of Hiroter, but now he's under threat with Vascalampi and Baumann just behind him. We ride on board with Timu coming up and over turn 5. Oh, a lot of wheel spin there from Peter again.
He just lost the back there, didn't he, coming out? Felt the need to go defensive there. Down into the right-hander now. Let's see him go onto the back straight. How's your apex onto the back straight? Pretty important, really important, that apex there to get a good run down here. This is on, I think, for Timu here.
If these two get side by side, look behind them. That's Chris Baumann, that's Suarez, that's Doby, all there. And Timu's got a good run on Peter. Peter doesn't defend this time. He's going to let the Finn have the inside. Maybe he's looking for the inside of the second apex, but still he gets overtaken. Just swamped here. And this is slowing up those behind him as Suarez comes back to try and gain the positions he lost.
Oh, Chris had a massive slide, and I have to just applaud how he held that car then over the crest.
Well, it's not over yet.
It looked like he was almost full lock there, just trying to hold the car.
Oh, 3 wide!
Oh, he got 3 wide!
And they come together!
Oh, no!
Peter and Suarez into the wall. Oh, it all fell apart. It was some exciting racing, but it was not meant to be in the end. Suarez was sizing him up. He knew that he would get a shot to maybe have a run on them. I think Peter he didn't know that it was going to be 3 wide there at the last moment.
Yeah. Do you know what, though, Joe? Just hats off to all of those guys. I mean, that was just a huge battle there. And they just all wanted it. You know, they would have loved being in that battle, all 3 of them there. Such a shame they got that. Yeah, I reckon you're right. I'm not sure if he knew it was 3 wide there.
Meanwhile, if we come back, Doby's going to be side by side with Chris Baumann down into the chicane. This is to settle out 8th position. Oh, almost touching wheels as they break. Both of them locking up, trying to take it as deep as they dare, and Doby's going to take it. All this action, we haven't really focused all that much on second place, which is still Kochi ahead of Bycroft. But just like we saw before, Steve's had trouble trying to pass the car ahead despite a pace advantage.
Yeah, I was just watching that myself, Joe. Yeah, looks like he's having a bit of trouble there with Nicola. Timu was really wide over the curb there in 7th spot again with his 2 guys behind him chasing him down. This ain't over yet, is it? This ain't over.
Bycroft's got a good run. He's heading down to the chicane, and he's being given the inside. I think Kochi doesn't want to fight this one too hard, knowing that Steve is much quicker. He lets him through. Bycroft back to where he was for a lot of laps as they go by. The car off course. That was John Stevens going a lap down.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Nicola is happy with giving that spot up. I mean, it's Italian guy, mate. You know, they don't like it.
if you want a good replay, Timo Vascolampi just lost 2 positions. He nearly lost the car coming off of turn 7. Let's look at the replay here. Yeah, it's coming off of turn 7 onto the backstretch that this happens. He's the black car up in front. That's Bauman and Doby that's chasing Bauman in the yellow car. And then the throttle just a little bit too greedy. Catches it before it goes into the grass, but by that time, the damage is done.
Yeah, and I just carried on watching that that little battle, and they actually went too wide through the last turn there. Team had to get out of it there. Just watching that. There's a little bit of a gap between the 3 cars now.
I was going to say, it looks like he's really lost out, though. He's down to 9th, and Bauman is pulled far enough away that he's not under threat at this point. Things swapping around quite a bit here at the end, but everybody is pulling apart from one another now. Oh, another mistake from the exact same place. Hadn't learned his lesson last time. Just really struggling. And we should probably point out, though, here, Mick, is that this car doesn't like slow corners. It's probably its biggest weak point.
Yeah, it is. It's a nightmare in slow corners, and that corner there being the slowest on the track, it is really hard. It's hard enough to get the car to turn in there because it's all mechanical grip, that corner, and yeah, it doesn't like it at all. So yeah, just a bit too much throttle there, and you're gonna have trouble, or just a bit too much speed there, you're gonna have trouble. You'll just wash across the track there. Like I say, no downfalls so much when this car's going slow. So, but yeah, I'm still watching Timo. He's still after Peter here now, going through the S's. He's still trying to chase him down. Timo's on it. He's really going for it.
It's not going to let anything set him back, and we've got very few laps left to go in this 36-lap race. Timo is still, he's still gained. He started this thing in 16th. He's down to 10th now. If he could get by Peter, that'll be up to 9th place. So not a bad day, just I'm sure he would have liked for things to go a little bit smoother.
Yeah, and whenever I drive a car that I'm not normally involved with, I always look at a top 10. So these guys aren't fighting for top 10, but yeah, it's, you just want to be in that top 10. And I reckon there's been so much fighting going on in this race between these guys now. I reckon it's just it's a vendetta to see who can be in front. Looks like it's going to be another little attempt here at turn 1, but no, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and a 10th place in a field like this is no mean feat as we continue to ride on board with Vascolampi. The highest I rating with Freesia is at 8,500, essentially, and the lowest is John Stevens at a 2,600, which is that's about 300 less than me. So that tells you how quick everybody's got to be just to be here.
Yeah, when you're looking at these classic series, if they do split, the top splits are really aggressive, really competitive, not aggressive, competitive. It's really tough up there,
So we watch Vascolampi chasing Konecki these final few laps. This is one of our closest battles. Actually, no, I take that back. Looks like Kochi's run Bycroft down again. He got to win the 0.2 of a second, but through turn 3, he once again, and we got a battle on screen as Timo got a good run on Peter, and he's going to get that 9th place away.
Yeah, nice textbook maneuver there. Yeah, let's go and have a look at P2.
Yeah, Kochi had caught up to him, but I think Bycroft's responded. He's pulled away a little more again.
Yeah, a little bit wide there for Steve Bycroft around the apex edge. So lost it a little bit, but yeah, nowhere near as bad as Nicola wanted it to be.
Yeah, in fact, he's all the way back to 0.6 of a second. He is not at all close enough to try and attack down here into the final chicane. We're going to be 6 laps to go now. Freesia setting another fastest lap, continuing to push that marker farther away from everybody else. It was a 1:11.1 this time for him, which, let's see, what was his qualifying actually? So 1:10.9, so he's getting within his qualifying pace now. Just 0.2 off.
Yeah, I think he'd be quite annoyed at not getting pole position. Do you think, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, 58 points on in store here for Freesia if he finishes where he is. So that'll certainly allow him to look at another potential championship since he missed out on it last season, not showing up for most of the rounds. He was much like Nuno Moreira, unfortunately having to miss quite a few of the first ones.
Just a little look at 12th position now. I'm just watching Uwe Trangerade. He's catching Barry West by quite a lot. I think this could be on if he catches him at the rate he's been catching him. I think it'll be on for turn 1 or the back straight on the chicane on this lap.
This is probably the least we've mentioned Uwe Trangerade in a race in a long time.
yeah, that's right.
Usually he provides a lot more excitement out on track.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the car to go sideways.
Well, he's right now going to try and go side by side with Barry West, but he's a little too far back for that, at least down the backstretch with 5 laps to go. Going to be 4 laps to go. No, it is 5 laps to go because they're actually getting ready to be lapped here by Freesia. He's only about a couple seconds back behind them.
Yeah, I've seen Freesia's textbook, Dead Mike, when he's thanking the back markers. I've seen that a couple of times now. So, yeah, there were some back markers in this race, Joe. We didn't know if it was going to happen being the top split, but, yeah, there were. Looks like he's been nice and safely through everyone, though.
Next on his list is going to be Fabrizio Massani. As we watch our leader running the classic John Player special scheme on that Lotus 79. Appropriate that will be the one to win today here in the first round. As he continues to run down the number 18 machine running in 16th. We did lose Suarez after that Rex. John Stevens running last in 17th. So only 3 retirements so far of our 20 starters. Back to Trangerade. Well, he's run him down. Let's see what he's got in the backstretch this time. Ooh, very good run there from the Norwegian. And he could have something on Barry West as the West holds to the left side, making sure that there's just enough cover to keep him from getting down inside of him. Comes back to the racing line. Good on the brakes for Ove, but not good enough.
Yeah, nice line though. Just as long as he can keep his foot in and not lose the back end here. Takes a wide line. Barry's really defensive there. Over the start finishing line. This looks like a Guian. Barry's going defense. Oh, it's getting a bit smelly. Yeah. Oh, I thought he was going to go for a dive there. Up to this horrible blind. Yeah, go, Joe.
I was going to say, as Paul Tracy would say, that was a bit of the Pruitt fade that Barry West was pulling.
It was, yeah.
Just kind of gradually scooting across the track, and Trangerade eventually had to give way. But I think he's going to get another shot here.
I think he'll get another shot. I was just watching Barry down through the S's there. He was really on it. I mean, you can tell when the car starts jumping about like it was there that he's really pushing. Oh, he's had a really bad exit. Oh, they're going to be side by side now all the way down this back straight.
Barry West.
Oh, he's cutting him off. That's fair play. Fair play. He wasn't alongside him.
So Barry West is fighting hard for this position, and Ove Trangerade is going to fight just as hard to get by. He's going to be side by side down to the chicane, but it'll be the long way around to the first apex. He's still very good on the brakes into this corner. He's still got him wheel to wheel, but he has to give way with a bad exit, as now they're joined by Ben Laughter for the position.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Barry there. He done everything just right. It looks like Ben Laughter's going to get over there into turn 1, doesn't it?
He's got the
braking. Oh, yeah. No, Uwe's still a bit strong there. Liking the Honda paint there for Uwe as well.
We had a bit of a battle for 6th place between Doby and Heroder. This was down into the first corner, and Doby's managed to fend him off. Wow, just got a fantastic run off the final turn. Almost looked like, well, actually, Doby made the pass, it looks like. Wasn't just fending him off, he was getting through.
Yeah, great move.
So as the laps come down to the white flag very soon here, Laughter, Trangerade, and West down the back stretch. A little bit separated, but look at the top speed on Laughter. Laughter is gobbling them up, and he closes in down into the braking zone, but he runs out of straightaway.
I've raced Ben against Ben in the Audi GTO there as he just loses the back end. I was just going to commend on his driving skills. He's just run a little bit wide there as well onto the grass just over the start-finishing line.
Meanwhile,
white flag. Turn one. Yeah, go, Joe.
White flag is out for Juno Frisha. He's leading by 11 seconds over Steve Bycroft, who has solidly locked down second place. He's pulled a second away from Kochi behind him. This has been a great run from Frisha. The stats are going to say he had that big gap, but really that's not the whole story. He fended off Steve Bycroft to great effect for the first half of this race. There you see Steve Bycroft, third place finisher in the championship last season. Going to start things off in second place, where he finished a lot last season, to be fair. Many seconds, but never first.
Nicola Kochi's done well. Bad qualifying. He really came good at the end of the race, hasn't he?
Yeah, he should be happy with this podium. But Frisha down into the chicane, just a couple more corners to go. He'll open things off with a win, as he's done many times before in this series, showing why he's a multi-time champion. A win today at Road Atlanta for the Austrian.
Great drive by Steve Bycroft. Pole position today, brilliant drive, brings it home second.
And just barely avoiding being lapped, the battle for 11th is going to rage on, with West still ahead of Trangarade, ahead of Laughter. And don't forget Molina Mann, now starting to rock up to the back and making this a 4-car fight.
Yeah, this could be on for the chicane, couldn't it? Uber's just behind Barry now. Barry was a little bit wide there on the apex. He's got a good run though. I think Barry's going to be just safe enough to get into the chicane now ahead of these guys.
As long as he doesn't make any mistakes coming off that last chicane, he should be safe. Laughter closing yet again on Trangarade, but he wasn't good enough off of turn 7. As they come through these last couple corners, can he avoid the wheel spin? Barry West is looking pretty good, and he indeed will lock down that 11th spot. It's going to be the last of our finishers here across the line and take us to a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews. Stick around because you'll see all the upcoming races on screen. Welcome back to Road Atlanta. Round 1 and the Sunday Grand Prix series for the Lotus 79 was won by Jarno Friesche here in 2020 Season 1. Steve Bycroft was about 8.5 seconds behind. Looks like Jarno maybe slowed up a little bit on that final lap. But Steve was much closer for the first half of the race, and then unfortunately his own mistake cost him coming over the crest at the end of the lap. Nicola Cocci finished in third, rounding out the podium, but it was mostly quiet for most of the time for him. Marco Sanfilippo, his fellow Italian, finished fourth back there just off the podium. Stefan Schlacker with a fifth place from 12th. He took advantage of the wreck at the start and then held pace, so you really can't discredit that fifth place. It wasn't just sheer luck. Sam Doby took sixth position with Dustin Herroder finishing in seventh, and Chris Baumann took eighth after qualifying in fourth. A little bit of a backwards run for Chris. Timo Vascalampi moving very much forward from 16th to 9th. Peter Konietzki finishing in 10th.
Barry West, it was a great battle, wasn't it, Joe, with Uwe there at the end. Barry West finishes in 11th there. Uwe just behind him in 12th. Ben Laughter, he was there at the end in that battle as well in 13th. Molina Mann, again, we saw a lot of him in the battle, 14th. Keith Herner as well, 15th. Fabrizio Missani in 16th. John Stevens, he had a lot of damage on the car in 17th. These are the guys that are a lap down. Pablo Suarez, 12 laps down in 18th. Peter Mikas, he was out 19th. And Kendrick Taylor, he was fast early on in the race before he was out 20th place.
Looks like we've got our winner ready to talk to us, and Mick is going to try to solve the age-old mystery of exactly how to pronounce his name.
We need to know, Gurno. Come on, Gurno, let's hear it. We need to know how to say your name.
Hi, Mick. It's Gernot.
Gernot. Okay, all right. I was right.
You're an expert.
Yeah, great. Just talk us through your race, Gernot. You didn't get pole. Really great to watch your pace there. I've been lucky enough to be racing with you in endurance races. I know how fast you are in those. Just talk us about your race, mate.
Yeah, actually, it was quite a complicated race because I messed up qualifying. I think my qualifying pace would have been really good, but yeah, I lost the second lap, and so it was a little bit tougher in the beginning. But I had a good start. Maybe it was also a little bit better gearing for the first gear. So yeah, managed to get the lead, and then it got even more complicated because Steve was so fast. And he had better top speed, and maybe I had problems with side pod damage. I'm not sure. I really was under pressure in the first half of the race. Then I was lucky.
Yeah, we noticed you had the damage there at the start. How did that actually happen?
I think I got it after 3 or 4 laps, something like that. It's always that last right-hander before the start-finish line. There's some nasty bumps there, and it's quite random, I think, if you hit it or not. And it gets worse during the race, and you lose top speed, you lose downforce as well, I think. So it's quite complicated to get a good setup here. Yeah.
And just give us a quick view on your personal. I know you're super clean for all your races and stuff, but do you ever sort of end up mirror watching? Especially when guys like Steve was today, who's quick, and there all the time.
Yeah, of course I do mirror watching. It makes it even worse, especially in the S's or before the S's with all those wide corners. When during some laps, Steve was really close or even beside me. So of course you have to keep an eye on the other car, and it's quite tricky through those corners.
Yeah, listen, man, well done on the win. I'm going to enjoy watching you guys race this season. And I'll see you next week, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I hope to see you on track as well, no matter where. So yeah, thanks a lot. See you guys. Congrats, Steve and Nicola as well.
Yeah, cheers, Gurno. Joe's caught up with Steve.
Steve Bycroft, our second place finisher. Steve, we heard from Gernot's point of view, but what about yours? You lost the lead at the start, and then you were applying immense pressure. Tell us a little bit about the mistake that lost you that chance at first. Was it a bump, or what happened?
How's it going, guys? No, it's Well, that corner you have to be really careful with the throttle, because if you give it too much at the wrong time, then you'll lose it like I did. So, and then at the start, just as we were getting into the S's, I missed a gear. So that's how Gurno got by me at the start. And then from that point on, I was just, trying to hang with them as close as I could. I think our pace was pretty close, but I mean, Gurno, he's the best we have. So you pretty much have to be perfect to force him into a mistake or pass.
Yeah, and it seems like you couldn't quite eke that out of him. But one thing that impressed me is in the past, I don't recall seeing you be terribly aggressive when you get into the battles. But today, it seemed like something had switched. And is it fair to assess that you were kind of on it today and really trying to do everything you could to steal that first spot back?
No, actually, I mean, I don't know if I should say this, but I mean, I wasn't really trying to pass. I was trying to make Gurno think I was, so that maybe he would overdrive it a little bit and make a mistake, and then I could get by that way. But I didn't actually try and force anything there.
You fooled me because it certainly looked like you were throwing the kitchen sink at it out there. But still, a second place is a good way to start things off. You missed out on the championship last season. Do you think this is a good sign that maybe you could be in the shot for it a little bit better this time around?
I don't know. It's hard to say. Matt Wood wasn't here. Nuno wasn't here. The thing about the Sunday series that's different is the races are more important, so one or two bad races can really kill you, for the whole season. So you just try and, hope that you don't have too many bad races.
I'd say your consistency certainly helped you last season be in the hunt for quite a while. But again, congratulations on a podium, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you next week.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Steve Bycroft, second place today. Up next, third place finisher Nicola Kochi is going to be talking to Mick.
Hey, Nicola, how you doing?
Hey, Mick. So I'm so happy to talk to you again after our season in the 49. So happy to have you back.
Yeah, cheers, man. Yeah, it's great to talk to you too, man. Listen, I'm really impressed with your race today. Just talk about it. I mean, you had bad qualifying today, didn't you? You came good at the end there. Bit of a battle with Steve. Just go through it with us.
Yeah, I completely destroyed both my qualifying lap because I had this strange oversteer. The car was sliding all over on the back, and I tried to make the best out of it, but it was way too slow, and I had to start from the mid pack. But I had a little bit of a dangerous moment in the first corner, but this time I was lucky enough to came up unscathed, and I was just ready for my comeback. And honestly, I didn't thought I had a good setup today, because I already knew that the faster guy was a lot faster than me on the straight. So I was just trying to keep the damage as low as possible in terms of points for the championship. And that's exactly what happened. I didn't thought that somebody up in front between Gernot and Steve could make a mistake, because that's so rare. But this time it happened, and I knew that I had a slight chance to fight back Steve, but it was very little, because he was as fast as me, maybe a little slower in the twisty sector of the track. But as soon as I was going on the straight, I can see his car so much faster. So I wasn't even able to close him on the draft. So I think that I could not doing anything better than a third place.
Yeah, we was wondering about the different downforce levels, on the back straight, and how guys were going to set up for that today. And so you're saying, so it was an important factor in the pass he made on you then?
Oh yeah, and Steve always do the right choice when it comes up of setup. he always find like the correct balance to make all the things work. And this is a field that I'm really bad at it. And so it's his choices paid out and mine and not so much. And I even made like a very rookie mistake that I shouldn't not tell you about, but I just
Come on, Nicola, man. Tell me. It's only me, man. Come on.
I just changed the last minute my setup, and I raced with a setup that I never tried out before, and luckily this
Nicola,
time
man, never change your setup, man. Rule number one: never
I
do
know,
that, man.
I
did
know,
it
man.
yesterday myself.
I
Listen,
know,
man.
but
Listen. Yeah,
yeah,
go on.
go on. No, go on.
No, I was going to kick you out. Go on. Just say something you want to say.
No, okay. I was I was not very happy with the setup that I had in the previous race, so I just modified my qualifying set that I was a lot more confident with. And I think in the end, this was the only right choices that I made on this race, and this time I was lucky. So no rookie mistake for me.
Yeah. Well done, mate. Really, like I said to Gernot, really enjoyed watching you guys today. I'm going to really love watching you guys race this season. I'll see you next week. Thanks for coming in.
Okay, guys. A lot of thanks for you and all the work that you do, and see you next race. Bye.
Cheers. Looks like Joe's caught up with Barry.
No, I think it's Stefan Schlocker that we're
Stefan's
talking
here.
to.
Sorry, Stefan.
Yeah, top 5 finisher today, and Stefan, we talked about it was a good qualifying for you, but then it seems like you managed to use both a little bit of luck and some great consistency out there for a higher result than I think even you expected.
Yeah, the target was about the top 10, because that was also the region where I would start to gain our rating, or so I hoped at least. Yeah, qualifying, I don't know, it was good, but yeah, I'm a terrible qualifier. So for my standards, it was good qualifying, but overall, for what I can do in a race pace, it was a terrible qualifying. P12 in the end. Yeah, what can you say? It's a P. I think it was number 11 in 11 or 17 in this race. I think it was 11. So yeah, starting position not too great. Somehow able to avoid that wreck. Even though I think I net coded there with Peter Mikus. Thankfully, didn't get any damage from that or throughout the race either. So was able to just continue to race. I don't know. The setup felt weird, especially at the start. I felt like I over trimmed it a little bit out too much, but it came back to me throughout the race and started to run down San Filippo at the end. But yeah, I ran out of laps, sadly, to catch him for that 4th place.
Even still, I think should be ashamed of a top 5. You talked about the setup though, and we were having some discussions about it during the race, me and Mick. What was your philosophy on trimming out the wing to try and get that straight line speed for the backstretch? Do you try and keep a little downforce in it? Do you want to make it easier? Oh, and there we see on the replay, you did actually have a little contact there at the start. We just saw on our screens. But did you prefer to trim it out to make it easier to pass on the backstretch, or what?
Well, I did a little bit of reverse philosophy, if you would like. I used the setup that Steve Bycroft provided, which is a setup that is from Gernot Friedrich that he just did a little bit for himself and posted that on the forums. I used that, and what I did is I did do check up the rear right hit a little bit, which gives you a lot more downforce in the fast turns, but it loses you some straight line speed. It worked wonders though, especially I was still gaining quite a lot in the draft, so it wasn't too much of a hindrance. I was passing, I think that was Konisny that I was passing there down into the chicane on the inside late on the brake. So yeah, it still worked out, maybe a little bit too much on the downforce side, but what you really do is with the wings, you don't do all that much. It's so much more about right height and how much of difference you have in the right heights.
Gotcha. Well, usually we ask if anybody has someone they'd like to thank, but instead I'll let you have a moment to gloat that you got Gernot's name right.
Yeah, I got it. Well, I mean, he's Austrian, so what do you know?
I should have listened to you. That was Stefan Schlacker, our 5th place finisher for today. And that's going to close out our interviews, of course, with a big thank you going out to the Lotus 79 community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. But we also want to thank the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcasts that are listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. And also thanks to the team today, Mick, Amjad, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Also, check us out on social media. Our Twitter is @GSR Channel, Facebook is Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram is GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support us, check out our merchandise store in the link in the YouTube description below. However, if you subscribe to the channel, you have your choice potentially of winning any item that you want from our store. Make sure and subscribe to GSRC and you'll be entered in a drawing come close to Christmas. The next race that we are covering is going to be Silverstone. That'll be Sunday, December 22nd at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. But we have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, though, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.